Hey, as y'all know, today gonna be the last official day. Okay, I'm on the car. This is gonna be part 5 right here. All right, stay tuned. What you want to do is take some rubbing alcohol with a paper towel or a napkin or something and just go around the edges of the pan, where the gasket is going to seat. You don't want any residue, and make sure it's nice and clean with no debris, no oil from your fingers, none of that stuff. This is going to prep the area, getting it ready for the gasket. Okay, now you want to take your silicone and apply a thin layer, a thin bead of silicone all the way around the gasket evenly. Not too thick, a nice thin layer, just for tacky purposes. This application will help assure no leaks if you do it right. Spread evenly and make sure you go around each hole a couple times in a circle. That'll spread all of the silicone evenly. Now after you finish, it should look like this, nice and even. Don't forget the orientation of the holes, the way they line up in reference to the pan. You want to match that up, nice. Not too long, but you do have time to adjust all of these holes to the gasket in a timely manner. So you don't have to rush, but you do got a limited time to work with before this stuff cures and turn into rubber. Okay, now let's get the pan on the transmission so that the silicone can fully cure while the pan is on the transmission. Now we could get all the bolts in there. Make sure you go in a crisscross pattern to evenly compress the gasket. You want to tighten it that way as well. If you don't have a torque wrench, then just go snug, and a quarter turn should be about right with your ratchet. Don't forget this clip right here. This is for the oxygen sensor wire. It holds it in place. And then 2 bolts from the transmission pan goes through here. bolts underneath the oxygen sensor connectors right here, they're a little hard to get to. We have all of the bolts in place. The transmission pin is back installed, and now we're ready for the next step. All right, see that pin right there? It came from out of here, right there. That slot right there. So in order to put this back together, when you slide this whole piece out, these little pieces gonna come out, or it may come out. So this slides out, and then there's a spring on here. You gotta catch it in this housing so it could wrap around this latch right here. And see, it puts tension on it, and it connects to this little piece right here that slips in that slot right there. Not sure if you could see, because it is kind of, the lighting is not excellent for the camera right here, but you have to put these pieces, you got to put these pieces back together again and assemble them inside of here if they come apart when you take this whole thing off. So I've done that now. So as you can see, all of this stuff is intact and ready to be reassembled here. We're gonna get to that, but first I'm gonna clean off this gasket area, make sure that's free of debris, and then this area, and make sure that's free of debris. And I'm gonna attempt to reuse this gasket right here, because I can't find a replacement in time to get this wrapped up today. So there's a few errors. There's a few things wrong with this gasket. It's broken here, and it's also broken here. And it looks like it's broken up here too, and broken over here. But what I'm gonna do is recreate this gasket with gasket maker. I'm gonna you know, kind of strengthen it with the gasket maker, go over it, and then I'll put these two pieces back together again. Now that's only if worse come to worse, because right now, the way this gasket look, with all of the imperfections around here, I'm still gonna continue to search for the right gasket. And if I have to, I'll just call the customer and let her know what the dilemma is at this point, because this looks pretty bad right here. I'm really not wanting to recreate this with gasket maker because I don't normally do stuff like that. I'd rather get the correct gasket replacement for this application in addition to using gasket maker. I actually intended on reusing this gasket, not knowing the condition of this gasket until we actually got to this point. But these types of things, you never know until you separate things and see what you're dealing with. So this one is severely worn from wear and tear. So I'd rather do my very best to satisfy my customer, even if it takes a little longer than anticipated. See that, because it's kind of dark underneath here. Might have to shed some light on the situation. Also, before I go, if you like this kind of content and you want more from me, you know, do me a favor and smash that like button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and make a comment too. Let me know what your thoughts are on this type of content. And I'll be more than happy to, you know, keep it going. All right, back to the video. I'm gonna just have to take a trip down to the Infiniti dealership personally, because I need my hands on that part as soon as possible. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of Infiniti dealers around this area, so the closest one to me is in Virginia. Now, when you pull up to the dealer to get this part for this application, there's a few different names for this particular assembly right here, and we need the gasket for it. All right, how you doing? Yeah, parts.
Parts, yes. Straight through there, make a left. You see that window right there on the left side.
Thank you. How you doing?
Hello, how are you, sir?
All right. How you doing? I'm here to pick up a part.
Okay.
It's a gasket.
I think she might have put it away already.
Yeah, she probably doesn't know that I'm here coming today because the customer just gave me the money.
Gotcha.
So.
Do you have the VIN number with you?
Yeah, I do.
So, I'll call you.
Now, when you're cleaning this thing, the old gasket is gonna scrape off in pieces. Don't worry, just get it all off the gasket area. It should look like this when you're finished. Also, spray around this whole area with carb cleaner. That'll clean off these areas nice and clean, crisp, and it dries quick. Set the transfer case up like so, getting it ready in position to be lined back up with the transmission. This is gonna be hard, heavy, and tough to accomplish, but you'll get it. This is hard to get in there, but we gonna get it though. That pin, this is a lever and it's gotta be guided in that slot up there, right? Wait, let me get my finger in there. Right in there, in that area where that light coming from. It's like the size of a quarter or 50-cent piece. It's gotta go in there, up in there. So it's down and it's gonna hit right here down on the edging of the casing. You don't want that. You want to make sure it's positioned up. So this is why 2 people is good to do this. And then that pin, this pin right here, this is pin right here. It got to line up over here in this hole right here. Right there. So all of that stuff got to happen in order for these 2 pieces to come together. Also, the shaft right here, you're going to have to fight with this to get it in all the way. This is the upper shaft right here. It's got to go inside of the transfer case right there. And also, when you dealing with the shaft up top, it might get hung up. Up here, it might get hung up. So you gotta move it out the way like that and get it to the point where it's gonna slip in position. So, you know, I'm on the ground doing this, so this is very difficult, but we're gonna get it. This is your transmission mode. Okay. Now that we got this monkey ass in place, I got the shaft back. Just putting these bolts in now. You definitely gonna have to use a wrench on the back of these nuts and a ratchet in the front to tighten them up thoroughly. Now we're ready to put the heat shield back in position. And now for the second heat shield. ready to get the exhaust back in position on each hanger. Right up in here. So this is what I'm gonna do, and it's just above the seat, so this is not bad, because the grooves are right here and it catches right there just below that. So this is gonna be on the outside anyway, so but it could leak from here possibly, so what I'm gonna do is throw some high temperature silicone on it. And this, you want to get a nice bead of it. We're gonna put a thicker bead all the way around to fill up the grooves. You only want to do this with high temperature silicone. You don't want to use any kind of silicone for this, because this is for the exhaust and this gets really hot. See, like that. And then we want to also do around the holes. Nice generous amount. And this is the only gasket that was compromised. The other one, it wasn't like this one, so see, let that set up. Give it a few minutes. Let this set up before you apply it. Yeah, sure. No leaks. That's good. Well, over time. Right. That's good. And that's a nicely covered gasket. That crack area that I showed y'all is gonna get sealed up when this stuff cures. See, yeah, I didn't push it all the way. I just put it on there, and it's hanging. So you got the space. Got that space right there. So I'm just letting it set up and cure just a little bit to the point where it get tacky, because it's super wet right now. So I'll just wait a few minutes, let that set up, and then I'll push it all the way on. And then we'll connect this bad boy to it. Everything is all reconnected back together again, as you can see. Everything is back in place, all cleaned up. This completes our 5-part series. Now I do have a separated video on how to refill the transmission and what type of transmission fluid to use. If you'd like to check that out, be on the lookout and give me a comment. Thanks for watching.